Okay, hello everybody, and we are finally getting our October CD Online Meetup done. I apologize for the confusion for those of you who registered for it and for last week, and we had to reschedule for this week. We are going to talk about getting ready for Hacktoberfest. We have two contributors from the Ortelius project. Sacha and Arvind have been very busy on helping other individuals get their machine set up so that they have a development environment so that they can be successful with Hacktoberfest. So they volunteered to show everybody how to do that. So if you are interested in becoming a contributor of any project, you have a starting point. Arvind, next slide. So I am Tracy Reagan. I am the host of the CD Online Meetups. I'm very honored to be given this task by the CD Foundation. I love talking to people. I love quizzing people, and there's nothing more fun than doing these CDF Online Meetups. We have also Sacha with us, and he is one of our Ortelius board members. He's also a senior DevOps engineer for CubeVisor. And Arvind is a college sophomore with a love for open source and is active in the Ortelius community. He is extremely active and one of those people who, if you need something done, you ask Arvind, it gets done. And Arvind, I am going to stop my video and I'm going to hand it over to you to get started.
Hi Tracy, thanks a lot for giving us the opportunity to share about the nice work I am doing with the Sacha Wharton. So yeah, let's continue. So we are making a guide for the Hacktoberfest, but let's discuss what is the Hacktoberfest. It is a month-long celebration of open source software. It's happened every year in October. Probably some of you are already familiar with it, but some of you are total newbies to the open source. And the Hacktoberfest give a really good chance to start contributing to open source. And the best part is for the newbies, you will also get some tracks. So we are inviting everyone to participate and to contribute to the Ortelius product regardless of their background and Ortelius experience. There are many ways to contribute to Ortelius during Hacktoberfest, which we will discuss later. And also, I want you to share your experience with Ortelius by creating a new blog post. Generally, any PR in GitHub would qualify. Please see the contribution and participate page for more information about how to contribute. Now, our next task is why it is so hard to become a contributor. I know because the open source is really intimidating for some of you because like pushing code to GitHub and doing all this stuff, it is a really mess of doing a contributing to a really big project. So there are some of the tips that I want to share as a student perspective. Getting started requires some of upfront setup and know-how. And Sacha is really made a great setup which he will discuss with you later. Getting to know the other contributor can feel intimidating. Yeah, it's a really big issue and you should really talk to the contributor, the maintainer and ask for them if you are a total newbie. Otherwise you will get lost. You are not sure what you need to do first. So I will give you a small tip like showing up for the meeting and chatting on Soch's channel is more than half the battle. And the rest you will learn slowly. What are the benefits? So like Ortelius is a community and it has some rewards for good contributors. So in this community, you will build your skill and technical knowledge. By contribution, you will enhance your resume and social profile. It has some recognition program and it is divided into three categories. The first one is the champion categories. It is for the architect, coder, track writer, and testers. The second one is the ambassador category. It is for the outreach presenter, bloggers part. And the last one is the legend category, which is achievement in both of the above categories. Awards are issued every 6 months in the Ortelius Visionary Summit, and you will also get the chance to show your work in the Ortelius Visionary Summit if you have contributed good stuff the Ortelius community. There are some things to remember. You don't have to be a coding superstar to be an open source contributor. Even many people didn't do the coding contribution; they do the documentation part, outreach part, and they are doing it really well. Testing test specialists and technical writers are contributors too. So if you are one of them, please make sure to contribute to us and join our community. Product managers are needed in open source. They really help us in coordinating all the projects, how to manage stuff, and making plans. Bloggers and evangelists are an important part of the team and can create pull requests for content. We really need some good bloggers for the documentation part because a lot of people looks like the blogging is easy, but we need a quality content for the blog part. Website updates are part of the product and count the same as a coding fix. These are some of the good stuff that the front-end team can easily take and work on. Also, if you have some enhancement ideas and you want to start doing it, you can contact the maintainer and they will support you in this. So these are the quick start session. First, please go to the Hacktober website and sign up for that phase. Then find an open source project you like. We have also shared all the projects that are part of CD Foundation that are taking part in the Hacktoberfest. Join their respective channel. If you want to contribute to Ortelius, please join our Discord channel in which you know all about stuff. Set up your dev environment and please start looking for good first issue to get started. These are some of the CDF foundations that are taking part in the Hacktoberfest this year. These are like Tekton, CDEvents, Jenkins, Spinnaker, Ortelius, Screwdriver.cd, Shipwright. They all are amazing projects. And you will learn a lot contributing in these projects. So please make sure to at least take a look in this project, try to contribute, try to talk to the maintainers, join their social media channels. So get started. In this part, first let's talk about the first issue. What issue fit your skill level? Don't make the first too hard. Look for the labels and get yeah. Choose the issue that is easier for you, not that is very much hard. Or you can, if you want to try something new, you can definitely go for the new things. So now we are in the phase of development environment setup. Now I will ask Sasa to share more about the environment setup part and tell us how he's made an awesome setup for first newbies to get started.
Right. Thank you very much, Arvind. Thank you, Tracy. Okay, so I've been in Ortelius for, I think, nearly 2 years now, and I'm privileged to be on the board and serving on the board, and I learned so much from everybody in this community from all over the world. It's just an amazing bunch of people that have come together on a global sense to do something great. And whilst I've been learning and attending meetings and trying to understand and, well, understanding and learning and that constant process, and I love in the slide how it said you should, it's joining the meetings and it's half the battle, right? And I think that's really a fantastic statement. And because that's what I've been doing. I've just been joining the meetings and learning, and I don't know everything. So I basically came up and started to figure out, after starting to chat to people and get to know people in the channel, that it seemed like there's a need for a starting point, whether you're a student or whether you're a seasoned developer, right? How do you get started with Ortelius? So I sort of came up with this concept of a dev environment, and I pulled Arvind in because he's a student and we work really nicely together. Also, similar time zone makes a difference. And Arvind was wanting to learn more. I also want to learn more. And I said, come, you join me. Let's go and put something together for the Ortelius community. And then we share it with Steve and Tracy, and we get some feedback from board members too and see what they say. And well, here we are. It's on the Ortelius site, and we begin with by calling it an adventure, because it really is an adventure. Yeah, you're going to have some courage and bravery to get stuck in there, because there's quite a lot to know, but don't be daunted by it. You just take little bites and you will begin to understand. So so on the homepage part, I tried to just summarize who we are, what this whole dev environment is about, a little bit of history behind Abraham Ortelius, he was a cartographer I think in the 1500s. And this is basically the sort of backdrop to this whole thing. This is a map to get you started in Ortelius. And these are the organizations that Ortelius is a part of. These are the things that we are going to be learning. And when you look at these things, it's pretty exciting because this is exactly fits into the whole microservices space, you know, DevOps, even DevSecOps it touches on everything. But basically, this is all leading up to understanding and integrating Ortelius into your environment. And I also tried to show what projects we're busy with. So my understanding from at the moment is that we have an event-driven architecture, and we're also developing a XRPL SBOM ledger that will be integrated into Ortelius. So for the student side, for people who are students and wanting to join and wanting to learn more, we decided that we would put together just a few applications that matched the code base that Ortelius also has, such as Java. And what else was there? There's Python, and there's a Postgres database, and now there's an ArangoDB coming in, right? And these were just things that students could join and just get familiar with containerization or containerizing an application, right? If you're a more seasoned developer, you could probably skip these pieces and you could just move on and start very rapidly contributing to Ortelius by using your local machine as a local developer environment. I also just included some jargon because we use a lot of jargon. Some of them have URLs. I still need to update quite a few here just to explain what all of these things are. I'm sure there's a few more we could add. And just at the end, added some learning platforms that can help you get more familiar with certain aspects of the technology that is being used here in Ortelius. And then I need to move on to the next step, which is actually the actual setup of your environment. Just like that. Oops, not that one. Way along. I had it all sorted out. Sorry. Sorry, just moving Zoom out the way. Okay, so this is where we actually see that I've put together, it's just like you're having dinner with Abraham Ortelius, you know, such a way that you would have your canapes, and this is basically where you have your Windows or your Linux environment or your Mac OS environment, and we go through the process of how to set them up. Windows is a lot more involved because you have to split your system up between Windows and WSL. We try and help you get set up as quickly as possible. I've learned the hard way. So I took all my knowledge when I was using Windows on how to set up WSL in such a way that it works nicely as a dev environment. Windows 11 is pretty much the same as Windows 10, but we'll be updating this hopefully a bit more in the future. I've also included some configurations for WSL that can really help with performance and all kinds of other features that you can add to your WSL environment. Just scrolling down a bit. Linux is obviously very similar in terms of whichever OS you're using, Ubuntu or CentOS. You already know kind of the setup of your machine there. Nothing too much there. Package manager. Oh yeah, I also just mentioned some package managers that you can use for your Linux environment, such as apt for Ubuntu or Yum. So if you want to know how to install sort of programs, you can know which package manager to use, and it'll actually take you to the relevant site and give you some give you the commands on what you can do with them. When we go into Mac OS, I like to use MacPorts and Brew for getting my packages, so I just included that as as something that you should be aware of. And also a little trick that we had with trying to get Kind working with Docker in terms of IP binding, This little tool really helps fix that problem. Just give you some steps there. And we also mentioned some optional programs that you can install to help you in this journey. Upgrade just allows you to upgrade your system with one command. DevDocs is a fantastic, what I call the application command encyclopedia. And yes, you can access it offline. I just mentioned as many of the available command line docs that you can get that matched Ortelius that I'm familiar, that I've been using. And you can find all the commands in this one-stop shop online. The Warp terminal is a very nice terminal to use. Managing Java, all the different versions. SDKman is fantastic for that. We use Discord for all our communication. I also wanted to make sure that when developers are setting up their environment, that they are baking in security. I use GitGuardian. GitGuardian is very nice for, it's a free tool that allows you to be alerted when you are putting secrets or keys or tokens in your GitHub and committing it. Yadam is also very nice just for Linux environments or Mac OS environments where you have lots and lots of config files and you need to have them backed up to a GitHub repo. I use this all the time and it's very nice. Then we just go on to the main course, which is setting up. You can choose between Docker or Podman, whatever you prefer. Obviously, you're going to need Git so that you can commit changes and pull changes. I just give a bit of an example Git configuration file. This is actually my Git configuration file that I have, which you point people in the right direction. And then you obviously need to set yourself up on GitHub. And I've chosen VS Code as the IDE because it's a really rich environment to code in, and we've also included some very nice helpful extensions to help just as helpers, so that when you're coding or when you're making changes, they serve as a guide. Then of course you'd need Docker. And then with Docker, you can bake in the next part of the security piece, which is Sneak. I use Sneak or Snike. I'm not too sure which way you say it. But Snike integrates very nicely and can scan your containers for any vulnerabilities. And it's just an extension in the marketplace in your Docker desktop. Not too sure about Podman or what the support is for Podman. I'm sure someone else will be able to find that out. I also just mentioned container registries and just mentioned a couple just so people get familiar with what a container registry is and the various major container registries out there. Ortelius stores its image in Red Hat Key. Then we're going to need Kind, which is basically running Kubernetes in your Docker environment using Docker containers. It works extremely well and allows you to get familiar with Kubernetes very quickly. You're obviously going to need the kubectl command line to be able to interact with your Kind environment. And then you'll need some databases. It's very helpful to know a bit about Postgres and now recently ArangoDB with the XRPL SBOM ledger environment. Then the last bit of the puzzle is what I call dessert, because this is when it's going to get really fun and really, really into it. You're going to start integrating Ortelius into your own local environment. Potentially you can start creating Helm charts, and you can start linking Argo CD up to Ortelius and go even further and use Tekton and have these environments locally installed on your machine so that you can get familiar with the Ortelius projects that are on the go at the moment and allow you to really gain a deep understanding so that when you come to architecture meetings or you go to community meetings, you already got some level of understanding about the projects and about what Ortelius can do. AWS Local Stack, I put this one in because you can actually run AWS locally on your machine. I've tested it and I actually deployed a S3 bucket with Terraform on my local machine, which worked very nicely. And then last but not least, I did a little bit of a deep dive into, well, not really a deep dive, just a separate page for Kind, so that you can go through the documentation here. There's lots of links everywhere. and just some basic commands on how to get a cluster up and running. And then last of all, local stack. Just some of the experiences I had, some useful links for you to go and check out, how to set it up, how to get it up and running, the different types of integrations that are available, the language SDKs, and some of the requirements, and obviously how you need to, and some setup. This is actually, I just took this from my setup and created some examples of how to get this up and running out. I also mentioned Pulumi as another option instead of Terraform. I don't know how many people are familiar with Pulumi, but it's a very nice tool too, that you can use any language to do. Basically, instead of using Terraform's HashiCorp language, you can use any language that you're familiar with to deploy your infrastructure as code. And I think, and all of this list of endpoints here is exactly that. It's the localhost endpoints for the AWS local stack that is running on your machine, and this is how you would communicate with them. But there's really good documentation on all of these sites. And I think that is about it. So please come and join Ortelius. We've given you a compass now on how to get started. You will learn an incredible amount from a great bunch of people. This is my first open source project that I've ever been on, and I actually don't ever want to leave this project because it's got such amazing people. And just want to say a big shout out to Arvind, who's been such an inspiration at just getting stuck in, and thank you to Steve and Tracy, because without them we wouldn't have this opportunity to be a global community.
Sacha, thank you so much. And that is an amazing list of tools in one place. So again, it doesn't matter what open source project you contribute to. Obviously, we'd love to have you for our listeners. But this list that Sacha has put together is a list that could be used for any open source project that you want to contribute to. It's an amazing compilation. So Sacha and Arvind, thank you so very much. We hope you all get your swag and get your 4 pull requests in. I remember yes. when you're looking through your open source projects, you're looking for those that are labeled Hacktoberfest. Many of them will be a good first issue. So if you've never done it before, I'd say go for it. It's fun. Yeah.
Exactly.
And if you run into problems, you've got the Discord channel, right? Or the Slack channel if you're doing something else. You can always ask questions. And I think, don't you think, Sacha, that's probably one of the biggest problems, that people are afraid to ask questions.
Exactly. And you shouldn't be afraid, because Steve doesn't bite. And nor does Tracy. Just the most helpful, most awesome people.
I hope most open source projects have a Steve that people can, ask this. I think one thing Sacha and I have in common is we're really good at screwing up Git.
Yeah, I'm so good at it. Steve has so many times. I just have a talent for it.
I do too. So it never feel bad if something breaks. If you break open source, you're doing it right. That's exactly the way you should think about it. If you break it, you're doing it right, because you got your hands in it. You're getting your hands dirty, and just go for it. And women in particular, we need more women in open source.
Yes, where are the ladies?
I don't know.
There's too many guys here. We need more ladies.
We need more ladies.
Exactly.
We need more ladies. So on that, I will say, Sacha and Arvind, thank you for this awesome presentation. We will be scheduling our November CDF Online Meetup. Will be done probably in the middle of November, and we're going to learn about Persia, which is new open source project for the CD Foundation. It's a decentralized package management, or I like to call it a consensus build network. I think you'll all find it pretty interesting. So until then, we will talk to you all later.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.